Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday. The S&P 500 was down 0.04% today, so pretty much break even. The signals that we have on our stock market fast and slow trigger is still green on both of those. But the bond market actually for the fast trigger moved to yellow. Bond market was really kind of the story today. It was down 1.4%, sorry, 1.3% on the Vanguard Total Bond Market Index. And what happened was that the market was kind of absorbing a whole bunch of very large corporate bond issuings from companies like Meta and what have you. So, whenever you have a lot of supply that comes in, that can drive down price, at least temporarily. And we'll see how that plays out as far as that goes. But on the stock market front, the big news, of course, was having to do with First Republic, which we talked a lot about last week, being taken over by JP Morgan Chase. And this was kind of expected. Talked about that also. The FDIC would probably get involved, make some type of a deal with another bank. I guess it was PNC and JP Morgan were the two leading candidates for that, and put in bids. And now they'll be taking that bank over. So that should resolve that. I think what's important to watch here is that the banks that we've had trouble with, Signal Bank, Silicon Valley, Credit Suisse, First Republic, are all the banks that we heard about right at the beginning. And we haven't heard about any other banks so far. And now that First Republic is also taken care of, at least so far in this regards, maybe that puts it behind us. But that would be something to watch for if we continue to have more news of other banks, which so far we haven't. In the last Fed meeting, Chairman Powell said, that he didn't see anything else at this point in time either. Just a few banks that had done some things that, got them into trouble. I do hope long term that this kind of wakes up some of these banks to not go so far out on the risk spectrum and to be more careful, because they can lose all of their net worth as managers of these banks, because their stocks and get wiped out, as well as most of the times their jobs. So hopefully that kind of helps this banking situation. However, I will say that across the board, a lot of banks are probably looking at this and saying, hey, those guys lost everything they own. Essentially, if you had $100 million worth of, First Republic stock because you were one of the founders or one of the main managers or whatever it was, it's now worth zero for all intents and purposes. And so maybe that makes these other banks, a little bit more cautious about their lending, trying to hold on to their capital. And that's the fear that, we have about this kind of slowing things down. So this could factor into the Fed meeting that starts tomorrow. I know in the minutes from the last Fed meeting, there was a lot of talk about what was happening in the banking situation. And there was even some people who voted to not increase rates last time, I think, because of that. I think because the bank has just been taken care of, the Fed will still feel like they can go ahead and move forward with a 1/4 point rate increase. They look at those as two separate things. On one side, they've taken care of the bank or the banks in this particular case. And the other side is we've got to deal with inflation. And so as long as one side is being taken care of, we don't have to worry about it as much, and we can go ahead and raise rates. Now, that may not be the perfect way to look at it. We'll see how this plays out. If they continue to raise rates and all kinds of banks have problems, but, they do have a pretty good sight into what's happening with these banks because that's their job. But that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. The market is betting, at least to a slight majority, to have a rate increase on Wednesday. So we'll find out then. But not a bad day. Often go sideways and kind of sit and wait until we see what happens with these Fed meetings. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like that happen again coming up tomorrow. Just have a sort of a soft day while we wait and see what happens with the words that come out after and how much of an increase or lack thereof that they do. So look forward to talking to you about that tomorrow. Thank you very much.